Hello, everyone. I'm Jake,
Hannah.
and we are trudging through the apocalyptic wasteland that is Dave Rubin's written thoughts. And I don't even know what's this chapter called. What is this?
This is called Think Freely
Oh,
or
fuck.
Die.
Think freely or die. Okay, it's basically a very very short setup chapter to his list of many issues chapters. That I guess are sub chapters in this chapter. I don't know. He organized his book a little funny, but that's okay. It'll help us one by one go down. Of course, he sort of balks at the end of this chapter, and I'm not looking forward to the rest of them, but we'll talk about that in a second. But surprisingly, given how short this chapter is, and it's basically a page and a half, it still is rife with things I hate. How did he manage that?
He completely mischaracterizes people on the left's position on things. He characterizes political ally making as racism. It's out there, and he tries to talk about classical liberalism in a way that doesn't make him just a conservative. Didn't he come out recently and be like, "Hey, I'm a conservative now"?
Yeah, and then he put this book out anyway. Yeah. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. The first thing, free thinking is tricky. It's more like being a nomad than a settler. And then he says, there's no political party for you to call a permanent home. Funny, all classical liberals call Republicans the party a permanent home. Very strange. Very strange. You don't vote for Democrats ever.
That's the thing that bothers me within this chapter. He tries to talk about this classical liberalism, which people up to and including Sargon of Akkad call themselves. It's a useless political term at this point, specifically because people on the right will use it to shield themselves from the obvious criticism that, hey, you're conservative, your ideas are outdated and bad. So instead, they'll dress it up and say, I'm not a conservative. I'm a classical liberal. I'm what the left should be.
Dave even mentions that, saying like, it does sound like a fancy term with top hats and monocles, but it's even more than that. Yeah. He walks into it saying, yes, it is just a fancy term. It's super dumb.
He even says something along the lines of like, classical liberalism is an ideology that talks about the rights of the individuals. Oh, here it is. The formal definition of the term is, quote, a political philosophy and ideology belonging to liberalism in which primary emphasis is placed on securing the freedom of the individual by limiting the powers of the government. Today, we would call that a conservative.
I would love
to limit the powers of the government and focus on the individual.
But they don't want to focus on the individual. They don't want to focus on the individual because there's freedom of the individual unless I don't like that, right? Yeah. Because they fought against gay marriage, they fight against trans rights, they fight against fucking minorities, they fight against everybody. Anything that deviates from their fucking waspy sort of fucking white male-centric fucking worldview, like middle class, then you're dog shit. You don't deserve whatever freedoms of the individual I want to grant to people. It's not about that. Before that, he mentions progressive groupthink.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing.
That's hilarious to me. Being someone on the left, I have to say that I wish there was more liberal groupthink.
Oh my God.
Liberal, leftist groupthink, let's say.
Well, progressive groupthink. I'll take progressives.
Sure. People on the right tend to get behind whoever their leader is. Like something like 90% of Republicans agree with what Donald Trump is doing, despite the fact that he is an obvious idiot. But people on the left, even when Obama was president, Obama is like liberal candidate du jour. He's he has the sort of capitalistic intentions, but he paints a code of like, but you can be gay on top of it.
More female drone pilots.
Yeah, even then, people on the left are much more conflicted about him, again, because of stuff like drones and war and whatever, some of which he was saddled with, others of which he had the power to change but chose not to. So no, there is groupthink within basically any political ideology if you section it off enough. But
Well,
I would argue saying that all progressives use a form of groupthink is reductive at best. And especially considering he's coming from people who think that Ben Shapiro is a goddamn genius. So
the way he uses groupthink is not the way I think you're using groupthink. Like, groupthink isn't we agree on things. We have similar ideas about things. Groupthink is you don't question the dissenting voices, or you don't listen to dissent within your political sphere. And
people on the right.
I don't know any left-leaning person that hasn't fought with another lefty over like very similar things and minutia of things, like a public option. Or private option, I'm sorry. Private option for healthcare. That's a big thing. That's a big topic within lefty spaces. But, you know, it offers a branch into capitalism, whereas some people are like, we don't want any capitalism. Other people are like, yeah, but we have to throw them a bone, right? And so, like, this is the kind of sticking point. This is not groupthink. Just because we all agree, usually we all agree something as simple as universal health care should be a human right, the way in which we want to accomplish these things are not agreed upon at all. And that's a problem for us as far as voting is concerned, because we're not tribalistic. And then I guess to bolster that, he says that people on the left just use whims and emotions of the masses to decide that, like, come on, dude. You have people literally cutting holes in their fucking mask and going, my body, my choice. I don't even fucking understand the idea of my body, my choice when the masks are there to protect you and those around you. Specifically those around you. The masks are not made to prevent you from getting anything. It's made to prevent you from fucking passing it. Yep. That's really what 70% of reduction in your transmission. That's what that is. And I have people fucking knitting like doilies on their face. Shit like that. See a guy with a swastika the other day? This isn't politically motivated at all. Fucking.
I also saw Derek Savage of Cool Cat fame. I tweeted this earlier. Cool Cat face masks. Yeah. Because if anyone's on the cutting edge of capitalist, what's the word I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
Taking advantage of a situation.
Exploitation?
Exploitation. It's Derek Cool Cat Savage.
Should we make face masks where the bottom half is your face and then the bottom half of this one's my? So it'll be like a Jake beard, and then it'll be Hannah with the gap. Should we do that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, we're doing that.
Merchandising opportunity.
Hell yeah. I guess after he says the freedom of the individual, he said more simply, live and let live. I mean, you do not live and let live. You guys just don't do it. Literally, a chapter ago, you said, and then they believe in 48,000 genders. It's like, live and let live, Dave. Maybe if someone has a strange gender, maybe if someone's orange gendered, maybe you could be like, hey, what is that? Instead of being like, you don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I've never heard anyone say that, but you can make up anything. You can make up anything. And just ask what that is. Ask how you can validate your fellow man, woman, NB, whatever. Come on. Like live and let live. Let's do this. I want to live in that place. I want to live in the place that Dave pretends he lives in, where he's like, yeah, who cares? Just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I find this hilarious, too. There's a section in which he talks about what classical liberalism is. I already read the quote about the freedom of the individual. And then he said, this notion was born from some of history's greatest thinkers, including John Locke, Adam Smith, John Stuart Mill, and Thomas Jefferson.
Live and let live.
He then put emphasis on Thomas Jefferson because he talks about the fact that Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, he wrote The Pursuit of Happiness into that document. Focusing on Thomas Jefferson as the ideal of your idea of individual liberty is hilarious.
Sally Heming.
Known for owning and raping slaves.
Right, and not only that, orchestrating and being integral in the Western expansion of the United States and seizing with military force and intense violence native lands. Like, these are things that, like, that's not live and let live. That's live and let live if you're a white land-owning man, definitely not brown, definitely not a woman. Like, just because he was like a little deistic doesn't mean he was like a good fella. Like,
No.
and not even relative to the time, right? Like,
Yeah.
Ben Franklin's a better dude than this guy in relatively. Like, I'm just saying. So, I don't know. It's
Also, I guarantee better in bed. Ben Franklin slept with innumerable
Ben
women.
Franklin fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
He fucked in France, so you knew it was the weird, fun kind of fucking, too.
Yeah, he definitely ate the box. And it was like 1700s box, so that was like that's it's like cheese. How it just gets better with age. It runs the opposite for boxes. So, anyway,
it's okay. Oh, mon ami, I had my monthly bath 2 weeks ago. I am still fresh. Oh, that's my French accent.
That's pretty fresh. That's pretty fresh. You could scrape it off and put that shit on a baguette. So, then he goes into this short talk about identity politics. With this, think about yourself right now. Do you represent all white people or black people or straight people or gay people? No, of course not. You only represent yourself. And then, Dave, if one of those groups other than white people do a bad thing, they're a monolith by which all other people that look like them or act like them, or have a similar demographic information, such as that person, Jessica Yaniv. Who was that guy? Who was that guy who lied about getting mugged that they just fucking milked for ages?
Oh, Jesse Smollett.
Jussie Smollett. Jussie. Yeah, that kind of shit. Ahmaud Arbery. Now you get shot to death by fucking racists. Now they're a monolith, okay? Now it's ID politics, okay? There's a big...
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say they misunderstand identity like when someone says, "Hey, this person is trans, or this person is black, or this person is gay," whatever. It's not because we want you to. And he talked about oppression Olympics in a second. It's not because anyone wants you to be like pity anybody. No one wants pity. No one wants that. No one really wants your help. No one really wants you to fucking feel bad. No one wants you to give points. What it is it's saying, hey, this is part of this person's lived experience. Here's context for this person, and it could flavor how they approach certain topics, such as social justice. If you are a person that is oppressed by the majority, it might be the case that you have a different view of social justice, where you think that, yes, I think minorities should have rights. Now, that's not always the case. Jesse Lee Peterson exists, Candace Owen exists, and that's fine. I disagree with them wholly, and I hope they get coughed on shortly in Minecraft. But, like, it's one of those things where not everyone's a monolith, and they don't understand the difference between understanding the context of a human being and understanding like the different things that make them the person and could flavor how they would respond to a situation politically or whatever, and just saying, oh, they're black, therefore. Because that's not what we're doing. That's not what anyone's doing on the left.
No, and he says here, segregating Americans into identity groups, the very essence of bigotry, has been embraced by modern progressivism, which is completely wrong. He's entirely missing the point that you can protect individual rights by taking a group of people who share common social goals. Like, let's say, if you are black in America and you want cops to stop shooting you and getting away with it so often, collectively you preserve your individual rights by coming together and becoming a voting bloc or a group of people working towards a goal together because you have mutual interests. You can preserve individual rights by collectively working together towards that end.
Right, that's just how this has always worked. And to deny the idea that we need to collectivize to push any sort of reform or anything like that, any goal that you might have to improve your life, the idea that you don't collectivize is wild, especially when it's issues like that, like the fact that cops disproportionately end up discharging their firearms lethally at people of color. That is a thing. Now, it happens to white people too, of course, but proportionally, per capita, it happens less. Now, it's in this case, it's always like, well, more white people get shot. Well, there's more of us. There's just more, but it's not proportional, and that's the point. They don't understand statistics like this. And even if it was, it would be like I don't want to get shot by the cops any more than anybody else. I don't think most people want to get shot by the cops. Some people might, but most people don't. And so I want to work with those people that want to reduce the militarization of our police. And frankly, if you are for a live and let live, freedom of the individual, limit the power of the government type person that Dave Rubin thinks he is, he should be on Black Lives Matter's team. He should be someone being out there like, yeah, fuck the police. I don't want them to have fucking military weapons. I don't want them to be able to fucking come and warrantless search me. I don't want them to be able to look through my texts and emails without a warrant. This is bullshit. That's big government. But guess who's voting for that shit? Guess who's enabling that shit? And guess whose politicians are doing that shit? Dave Rubin's and people like him. Not ours.
Yep.
Well, ours did, but those are liberals. Not ours. Lefties. Talks about the Oppression Olympics, in which victimhood is a virtue. I guess we could talk about that a little bit. Have we ever fucking made victimhood a virtue? Like I don't think anyone who is a victim is of whatever is like exalted. It's always like, oh, it's solidarity, I have empathy, I want to help you through this. It's that kind of shit.
That's where you falter, because Dave Rubin and his ilk don't have empathy. It doesn't
That must be it. Well, they did it. I forget what study. They did studies though, and the way people vote based on their political ideology, people on the left tend to vote more often with empathy than people on the right, and people on the right tend to vote more with fear than people on the left. Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, it does. It makes a lot of sense. And I wish there was a way for them to understand that, like, hey, things changing isn't that scary, dude. Like, calm down. Like, people just want to live their lives. It's not going to affect you. Like, the whole gay marriage thing. Who does that fucking hurt?
Yep.
Who? And then there's,
I don't know.
And now there's the Ariel Scarella type thing. You missed it. You're defining women different. It's like, nope. Not really.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh boy. Well, we'll ignore that for now. The last thing I have marked is all men are created equal, which I think is an incredibly interesting topic to bring up as a classical liberal. Because his idea here is that, like, we all have the same starting point. You just got to do your bootstraps. It's like,
but we don't have the same starting point. Some people are born and are given $1 million loans by their parents, or given a free ride to college by their parents.
Oh.
Some people are born poor and have to work their way.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't have cars that they can readily get to jobs. People have all different levels of accessibility to opportunity.
And some people exceed.
We shouldn't be afraid to talk about that, and the fact that it's an issue. Not everyone has the same opportunities in America.
Right, and we're never going to get to 100% equality of opportunity, right? Because no one's talking about equality of outcome, I don't think, on the left. I don't hear that conversation. I hear that straw man a lot from on the right, but unless it's like something like healthcare where you should just have it, but people aren't like, go to college and you are guaranteed a job. People are like, go to college, and you, regardless of your finance, it's mostly poverty that is the really big thing. There are racial components and obviously systemic components that cause minorities to experience poverty at a higher rate. But if you can eliminate a lot of the negative aspects of poverty, you can eliminate a lot of the negative aspects of the lived experience of people that don't get a chance to excel. Like, there's lots of people that, and this is a weird argument for people on the right, because they're like, well, I was poor and I do just fine. I'm middle class. It's like, yeah, you can exceed. You can excel. That's fine. That happens. We have upward mobility, but there's also people that fail that get $1 million loans. But guess what? It really doesn't happen that much. There's not a ton of mobility upward. And even more rare, there's not a ton of mobility downward if you're near the very, very top. It's very rare that someone at the tippy top is going to ever be middle class or lower. But I think, and I don't know if I speak for everybody here, but does the middle class seem super feasible to a lot of people? Because I don't know a lot of middle class people. I know upper and like lower middle is usually where people settle.
Yeah.
I don't know. So this idea that we're all created equal, yes, I agree, but we're not granted equal opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have anything else for the rest of this?
I don't think so. It's just basically an intro to all the sub-chapters, and we're going to be getting into those next time. The first one we're going to be doing is drugs, and then it goes on to gay marriage, immigration, abortion, free speech, gun control, trans issues, which I'm looking forward to talking about that, economy, foreign policy. And these are all... I hate how he organizes this book, because some chapters are numbered and then have sub-chapters, but not all of them. It's very inconsistent. Just kind of a random gripe. But I am interested to see what he has to say about drugs. I know the first thing he says is, I've smoked pot, snorted coke, and eaten magic mushrooms. So
live and let live.
And he's done ecstasy.
Good. He should do more of those things. It'll make him chill out. He does mention postmodernism because he can't get away from Jordan Peterson's dick for too long. At the end of this, it really annoyed me where, like I said, at the beginning of this, he balks. At the end of this, he says, okay, so I'm going to talk about the issues and where I stand, but I'm not going to talk about any sort of policy thing that we should do. I'm not going to talk policy. Like, it's so limp dick to be like, hey, I'm going to talk about the issues, but like only a little bit. You're not going to talk about the solution of the issues. You're just going to talk about where you stand on the issues. Is he a political pundit or not? Like, what the fuck? He's not doing his job.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Next one's drugs.
Yep.
You want a preview of my drug argument?
Sure.
All right, go ahead and do it. As long as, regulate it, and I wouldn't hate if the harder stuff, the stuff that people freak out about, like the ecstasy, heroin, etc., could be done in a safe place that's destigmatized, so that people that are actually addicted to it can be weaned off in a place with health care, and we stop doing punitive, stop punishing people for falling victim to chemicals that fuck up your body. Like, I don't know, it causes people to do crime, not the other. People aren't already doing crime. Like, I'm gonna do my heroin. It's like something you fall into. People want to experience different things, and it's a rabbit hole, and it sucks, and it shouldn't be stigmatized. That's the preview. Hannah, on the other hand, wants to execute all weed smokers.
Yes, exactly. That way I will get put down and put out of my misery. Hooray.
Oh, I thought you were going to claim all the bud.
Oh. Yeah, I won't kill myself then.
Smoke
Great.
all of it, and then consider the guillotine. All right. So, that's it for Rube. This was a short one. This was shorter than the last one, but I can't imagine the next one's going to be short.
No.
We're probably going to, depending on how quickly the conversations go, we might do multiple topics. It depends on how in-depth he gets, because I don't know. If he's just like, hey, do whatever you want with drugs, I'm gonna agree and move on. I would love to agree with Dave Rubin. Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm neutral.
Wouldn't it be nice if Dave was not dumb and we wouldn't have... Okay.
So that's it. You can always follow us on Twitter at PapaBirdJake.
At Hannah Reloaded, you can do the Twitches. We both have Twitches. Hannah's been twitching. It's Twitch.
Yes, twitch.tv/Hannah Reloaded.
Twitch.tv/ActualJake. I've got all sorts of emotes. Also, on the 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm debating Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah, good luck with that one. Yeah, that's going to be a nightmare.
He's bringing a friend. So, that'll be happening. It'll be a good time, probably, but I'll be streaming it. So come on over to twitch.tv/ActualJake. Follow right now. It's totally free. Don't be afraid of Twitch. It's not that hard. It's just YouTube, but alive at all times. it's a place that never sleeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitch is actually, I like it better. As a creator and a user, I am getting tired of YouTube's UI. It is not as graceful as it once was.
Yeah.
And there are fewer ads on Twitch. Holy shit.
You can support us on Patreon. You can donate to my transition fund. You can say goodbye. Say goodbye, Jake.
No, you hang up.
Goodbye, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Oh, Dave.